Hi, I'm Chris Dickey with 22 Local. Last week I caught up with filmmakers Chris Kitchen and Sam Pope of KGB Productions on their upcoming film Teton Freedom Riders the Movie. Check it out.
My name's Sam Pope. I'm one of the founders of KGB Productions. Live in Jackson. I've lived here for 8 years. I'm a mountain biking enthusiast, free ride enthusiast a little bit as well, and I made the movie Freedom Riders.
I'm Chris Kitchen. I also live here in Jackson, and the other co-founder of KGB Productions. The story kind of came to us as arriving in Jackson around 2001, just started to mountain bike a lot and seeing all these neat trails going up and not really at the time realizing maybe what was going on. And then over the years just biking and getting to know the guys, kind of realized the story, what was going on, and just kind of became a no-brainer. We're like, this is a great story. We're interested in human interest pieces, and this was in our backyard, so we filmed, why not, let's make a movie. I think it was the summer of 2007 is when we kind of started shooting it loosely, not a full plan on what to do, and then the next summer, 2008, full production all summer long.
As filmmakers, as documentary filmmakers, we make an effort just to tell the story as it is and not have our bias come in. Inevitably though, I mean, if it does, I guess. The moral of the story is that it's better to work within the system and to work, in this case, with the Forest Service. And I think that's evidenced by the fact that the trails are much better now. It's a better situation overall, and that is directly a result of the fact that they're now working with the Forest Service within the system instead of against it. So.
Which Keith Benefield, one of the original guys of Teton Cycle Works, who's in the film, he was telling us when he was here in the 70s and 80s and first started just regular cross-country mountain biking, everybody was up in arms about it. This is a terrible use of the forest. It's destroying the forest trail, and over time, obviously that became accepted, and now people don't even question cross-country bikes out in the national forest. The difference between the Teton Freedom Riders and 9 out of 10 other places where this battle is happening in the U.S. is that everywhere kind of in the U.S. it seems like these illegal trails start getting built, Forest Service comes in, breaks them down, and then there's kind of this ongoing battle. What you'll see in the movies, these guys, instead of saying the battle, they risked it all. They came out and went to the Forest Service and said, we're the ones building the trails, what can we do to make it work?
Because there's two sides to the equation. The first side is the willingness of the riders, of the Teton Freedom Riders, to approach the Forest Service and say, hey, we're the ones building these trails, what do we need to do to make it legit? But the other half of that equation is the Forest Service and administrators within the Forest Service that were willing to work with that. And I'm not going to say any opinions about the Forest Service, but I really think that's a huge part of it, is that they were willing, and I think that's a big part of what separates this area in Jackson from some other places in the country where similar scenarios are going on, is not only the riders' willingness to approach the Forest Service, but the Forest Service willingness to work with the riders, and require them to sort of change the way they look at land management in a way, as far as multi-use goes and that sort of thing. And that that really speaks to the flexibility and the forward thinking, the progressive thinking of the Forest Service in Jackson in particular.
Again, like Sam said, what happens here, especially in Jackson, recreation is such a big part of people's lives, and the land managers know that they're willing to work with. And what it really came down to in the end is the horseback riders didn't want to be associated with the bikers. They didn't like the cross-country bikers. They didn't really like the downhill bikers, definitely. And it was one of those things where everybody hated each other, and then you get to these public meetings and you realize that everybody wants the same thing. The horseback trail people are like, we want our own trails, and the bikers are like, we want our own. And Forest Service is like, well, luckily on Teton Pass, it's such a heavily used area, we can do that. The dark side, I think, is just assuming what the other side wants and not really actually talking to them, and that can be a metaphor for all sorts of political issues, I'm sure. Come to the movie Friday, June 19th, Center for the Arts. Bunch of PBR, Snake River Lager there. Huge raffle, going to be helping out Teton Freedom Riders. $10 at the door, and then we got an after party at Cafe Panza with DJ Mr. Whipple. And that's $10, and that's all the PBR pizza you can consume for 3 hours. All right.
I'm sure you can get $10 worth of that.